right, head wrestling coach Cody Garcia is here today. We're talking with him and also nationally ranked wrestler David Dow. Coach, you guys are coming off 2 duels with Heart of America Athletic Conference opponents, one at William Penn and then one at number 1 Grandview. But you got to be pretty encouraged in what you saw this last weekend.
Yeah, I think we competed well. You'd go back and even the William Penn, there were some moments where I thought probably could have been a little crisper, but at the same time, I think they competed in every position. And sometimes those are, when you getting ready for the next day, you don't want to overlook opponents or anything, but I think at the same time you start thinking, okay, we got Grandview tomorrow. And sometimes that allows a little bit of sloppiness to creep in. But either way, they continue to compete, and then you go into the next day. And I thought we wrestled well. I think you said there was moments where we just gave up big points and big moments, and when those things happen, it's hard to come back against tough opponents. So we're going to continue to learn. I mean, you go back to the conference, the qualifier last year. They didn't drop a single match all day. So for us to take 4 in a duel and be in a couple other matches, I think that's encouraging to our guys. But still, we're still going to want to improve off of that.
Yeah, this week we featured David Dow, returning national qualifier and again having a great season. Talk about David and his performance so far this season.
He's been just a rock. He's been consistent. I think he continues to evolve too. I think that's one thing that we've noticed here lately is that he's getting better. He's understanding some different positions. He's scoring out of his counter stuff a little more often. He's developing some other turns. He's adjusting within the match. He's doing a good job adjusting off of attacks. So he's become much more dynamic of a wrestler, for how green he was when we first got here, we knew he'd make those jumps, but his work ethic has helped kind of exceed some of those expectations already.
Yeah, so that we've talked to now 3 of your wrestlers, talked to Lucas, Jacob Smith, and now David, and a collective theme with all 3 of them was how all 3 of them really help make each other better. And they wrestle against each other constantly in the room, and then they also mentioned they hang out together off the mat too. But how important is that to have those guys really collectively help each other out?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, I think that's what you're limited sometimes by your room and the resources you have. But I think with those guys, and you throw Coach Venegas and Coach Rose and some of those other guys that are in the room with them, it really allows them to continue to grow and develop as wrestlers, and they're getting exposed. If they're making mistakes, they're learning from them in the room instead of just those 7 minutes when you're out on the mat where maybe there's less time to make corrections. They're definitely getting a chance to do that in the room, and that's healthy. I think that's an important thing, that if you're trying to develop and create a culture of success, you have to have guys that really grow the room too. So as they get better, they continue to encourage and make the guys around them. So it just trickles down to in the end, the whole room benefits from having guys like that in there.
Yeah, a couple more duels on the horizon. You'll go to NCAA Division II Drury this Wednesday. Then you'll return home to face Ottawa in a duel. What are you hoping to see from your squad in the next 2 duels?
Just that continued effort, and attitude when it comes to really trying to represent our brand when they step on the mat. I think just that consistent, persistent, relentless approach and pursuit of excellence. And I think they're doing a good job with that. We're going to continue to grow. A lot of times you get to the point of the season, you're like, well, let's just kind of pack it in and be ready to go for this national tournament. But I think with each of those guys, there's still some gaps to close on their potential. Obviously we train smart with it, but we want to continue to grow and develop through the next couple of weeks. And these are both great opportunities to do that against quality opponents, and especially with the Drury duel, maybe somebody that we're not going to see later in the year, so we can kind of go see what works, kind of go learn about ourselves a little bit.
And lastly for you, Baker will host the national qualifier on February 17th. How excited is your program to be able to host such a big event?
Yeah, it's awesome. I think you focus, a lot of the year as a progression towards peaking at the end here, so you give yourself an opportunity to represent the university at the national tournament, and for us to be able to do that at our conference tournament here in town is exciting. There's familiarity to it, there's excitement. And it's something that these guys, I feel like, they're going to be able to thrive off that environment and really be comfortable with, going out there and doing what they've been doing all along in front of people that care about them and want to see great things out of them.
Well, Coach, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it, and we will hear from David here after this video.
Thank you.
All right, we're here today with Baker University nationally ranked wrestler David Dow. David, how are you today?
I'm good.
Good. Well, hey, we wanted to get together with you. You know, we featured Jacob Smith in the past and Lucas Laverne, and both are guys that you battle with a lot in the wrestling room. And they've talked about how you guys really work well together and help each other out throughout the year. But talk about Jacob and Lucas. How have they helped you become a better wrestler?
Well, like they're a lot faster than the 197 pounders I wrestle, so like kind of helps me with my reaction times a little more better.
Yeah, and it seems like you guys really get along together as well. It seems like it's quite a unit, and talk about off the mat. Talk about your relationship with that group and even some of the other guys on the team.
We always hang out together and do stuff together. We have classes together too, so we're trying to. It's kind of like a bond.
Yeah, let's talk about this last week. You guys took on a couple of heart teams, William Penn and Grandview. You had a victory against William Penn, and then went up against Evan Hansen at Grandview. Kind of recap this past week in your performances.
Well, I definitely could have did better, but the kid from Grandview, he's pretty tough. He's really quick though. But practicing with Jacob and Lucas, that'll kind of really help me out because they're a lot faster. Working my footwork a little more though, so that should help.
Yeah, this Wednesday you'll travel to Drury, take on NCAA Division II team. Again, another wrestler that you faced. This will be the rubber match. You lost to him once, beat him once. Talk about the wrestler coming up this week and your hopes for Wednesday's duel.
My match. He's like a really solid wrestler. We're 1-on-1 against each other. So I think it'll be a tough match though. I have high hopes for it though.
Also coming up in a few weeks, we're preparing to host the regional qualifier, the national qualifier here at Collins Center. What does that mean to you and your teammates to be able to host such an event?
Well, I just like the fact that it's home, so we don't have to travel anywhere or worry about like bringing stuff or forgetting stuff, and we should have like a lot bigger crowd too, though. So it should be pretty interesting, exciting. Yeah,
this is just your sophomore season. Wrestling for the Wildcats. What was it meant to you to be here at Baker and put on that Baker uniform and compete each and every week?
Well, I know I just like going to the next level because only like 4 or 5% of high school wrestlers go to college, like wrestle at the college level. So I'm kind of blessed to be able to wrestle at the college level like every day. So.
Well, we've enjoyed watching you wrestle. We look forward to seeing what you guys do this Wednesday. But then you guys will also be back next Tuesday against Ottawa. So we'll look forward to bringing a crowd out there, and we'll see you guys at home next Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, David.